So earlier today, they released the patch notes for title update 8.4. So I thought in this video, I would check through all the changes and talk about them a little bit and just what I think about them at first impression. So gameplay changes. So seasonal manhunts is changed to allow progress at normal difficulty and above. So this is finally fixing the bug. If you're doing the seasonal manhunt and you would swap the difficulty, you would lose all progress. So this is nice to see, even though I think this shouldn't have been an issue from the beginning though, but at least they are addressing it now. Seasonal manhunt is receiving a button in the manhunt GUI that allows players to reset the manhunt to replay it. This allows players to reset the progress specifically and without changing the global difficulty. So yeah, basically a seasonal manhunt fixes there. This also means changing global difficulty will not reset the manhunt, so exactly what I said. The exotic mask, Coyote's mask, will drop from Coyote with an increased drop chance on higher difficulties, so you can finally farm the Coyote's mask. And if you're wondering where you can find the Coyote boss, it's the Jefferson Trade Center mission. They're also looking into providing the mask for players that have not received them, even though they reach season rank 35. I was pretty lucky though, because I got randomly resetted, so I actually got 2 masks. But anyway, you can finally farm this one, so that will be great. Increasing the reward quality for the following open world activities to be in line with other activities: public execution, settlement blockade, and propaganda broadcast. So that's pretty good to see. Like, farming open world and not the control points at the moment is a really good way to farm. But I will go deeper into that in another video though, but it's good to see this. Reward caches from conflict matches at maximal level are now high-end qualities. So that's good to see, because it was bugged that you would get purple caches and it was a bit annoying, not gonna lie. Even though I don't play it that much, when I do testing, it's usually in conflict. Then we have balancing changes, so some notes here from the devs. The game was tuned in a way that playing the exact same enemy composition at higher difficulties and higher player counts would match the expected gear of the difficulty and extra players added. However, since the game also adds more elites and veterans to accommodate higher difficulties and player counts, this caused the tuning to overcompensate health and damage higher than intended. We are thus lowering many of these values. And especially if you have played a lot like soloing, it's been quite nice. Duo as well. 3-man, you start to feel it a lot, but in 4-man you feel it even more. And especially if you do 4-man legendary or even heroic, if you play a tank and a healer and 2 DPS, then you're gonna feel it even more, right? So it is good to see them change this, because so when we did the heroic early on, we would rather do duo than doing 4-man, just because the scaling was just so crazy in terms of that. So reduce NPC damage output for all difficulties. This applies to all NPCs and activities, and enemies will do less damage to player compared to their current damage output. Reduce NPC health and armor for group scaling. Enemy health and armor scaling for 2, 3 and 4-man player groups based on veterancy. I don't even know what that word means. This means red, veteran, elites and named enemies will have their health and armor reduced compared to their current values. Additionally, we are adjusting health and armor based on activity difficulty. This applies to the hard and challenging difficulties, where enemies will have a lower health and armor compared to their current values. And exceptions are heroic and legendary difficulty, enemies which will have their health and armor increased to compensate for the group scaling reduction to their values. So I honestly think that's pretty good to see, that they're still keeping heroic and legendary as a bit harder and not nerfing that like crazy. So this sounds to me that it will be quite similar to how it is right now, just a little bit easier. So yeah, I think that's good to see. We still intend heroic and legendary to be very challenging, therefore we are increasing the base difficulty to account for the health reduction for co-op scaling. Compared to now, this means heroic and legendary will be a bit harder for solo players and 2-player groups. 3-player groups difficulty will stay roughly the same, and 4-player difficulty will be easier. I'm gonna be honest though, and me personally, since I do play this game a lot, I have a really good group with really good builds, and especially now with the CC build, the 4-player difficulty being easier is gonna make this quite easy, I feel like. 3-man is gonna be the same, and then solo and 2-player is gonna be a bit harder. I'm not happy to see that solo is gonna have it a bit harder. I think the difficulty for solo players were fine, and 2-player kind of fine too, but I can see why they're doing that though, because 3 and 4-man, a lot of times it didn't feel worth to do those, just because it would be way harder than doing it solo and 2-man in a lot of cases. So I guess we will see how this will work out, but I'm really not a fan to punish solo players because there's a lot of solo players in the game, and even though I do have a good group, I like to play solo quite a lot, so hopefully solo still feels good. If it's gonna be way too hard, then I might be a bit upset as well. And I know a lot of you people are definitely feeling the same about that. So I guess we will just wait and see. So we can see some changes here to Black Tusk, specific adjustment, which went live earlier last week. No clue about that actually. Reduce the health of Warhounds, reduce the damage of Warhound Sniper, reduce the damage of the 360 spin of Warhound Minigun. So I guess a lot of the dogs or Warhounds are getting nerfed. Not sure what I think about that actually, because honestly I did not have that big of issue against those, to be honest, but yeah. Increase the intention icon duration of the 360 spin from Warhound Minigun to give players more time to react. I guess that's all good. Reduce weak point health of Warhound Grenader control unit. I'm a big fan of them reducing weak point health. Like making the weak points be easy, that's a good way to go. If people shoot the right weak point, like yeah, reward them. Support station, reduce base health of support station. I don't know why they are two separate things, but yeah, reduce base health of support station. Adjust health scaling of support station with the veterancies. Increase the likelihood of support station being deployed in the open. So I guess that's good to see. It's not always going to be in cover. EMP effect will now damage the support station. So that's good to see as well. Level 30 to Vulture 5 NPC damage, health and armor will receive an additional reduction. I don't think this matters too much though. There's not too many players playing at level 30. And if you are still playing the game, definitely go and buy the New York expansion. Like the only reason in my opinion why you shouldn't buy it is if you don't have the money. If you have the money and you like Division 2 and you still play it, go and get the Warlords of New York. So pre-Warlords of New York content has lower maximum values to weapon damage, skill damage and armor than level 31 plus content, so difficulty is now tuned separately for pre-expansion Vulture content. Actually a bit surprised they are doing changes to that, but I guess that's good for the people not playing the expansion. Then we have some PvP balance changes. So all PvP weapon damage are reduced by 20%, PvP rifles an additional 10%, so 30% for PvP rifles and 30% for sniper rifles. Then we have skills, the Cluster Seeker Mine, reduce distance to bull charge from 12 to 10 meters, reduce distance from end to explode from 6 meters to 4 meters. Not that big of a deal, I think. But something I'm surprised here with the PvP balance changes is that something like the Fire Starter, for example, is not getting a nerf at all. I haven't had any issues really against that when I played my build, but I know my friend Scale have like a min-max Fire Starter build and he just shreds everyone. So I'm not sure how balanced that is, but I talked to him a little bit and he says it's pretty broken since you have a min-max build though. So yeah, I guess we will see later on that. I'm actually uploading a build video later, which in my opinion most likely gonna be the meta in terms of PvP, so stay tuned for that later this day, I think. So developer notes these changes should make Cluster Seeker Mine feel a bit more responsive. So that's great to see. I guess I don't really use skills or Seeker Mine that much, so yeah, especially in PvP. Then we have bug fixes. So fixed mission dialogue localization for Brazil Portuguese on Stadia. And Stadia is actually a thing. I'm not sure how it works though, but I heard there's some type of cross save with this. So I think if you're playing on console, you could actually get your account stuff on the Stadia and play with PC players, I think. I'm not sure though, but do some Googling if you want to try that. Stadia is basically like you play on another PC. So you can actually, I think from the TV, if you have that control or whatever Stadia is, you just plugged it into your TV and you can connect to the Stadia and then you play on their PC. So they basically just send you a video and you play with pretty good response time, what I heard though. Of course, it's gonna be some little delays. It's not like playing on a PC or a console, but I have heard some people use this and it seems to be a decent alternative. Anyway, fix an issue causing developer UI elements being visible in the language and setting menu. Have not seen that actually, okay. Improvements for data streaming on PS4. Fix an issue that caused in-game settings to reset after player respawn. Fix an issue causing seasonal mana progress to reset when changing directives. Fix an issue with the parallel event urban jungle schedule to not show in the game. Fix an issue causing target intel to be delivered to the mailbox. This was now removed as target intel is not longer used in the game. Issue with sticky bomb to not do damage under certain circumstances. Fixed shock trap deploys to be very close together when launched. I actually had this issue the few times I tested it, and I think even when I showcased it. Fixed issue with global difficulty to affect the operation dark hours rate. Issue with specializations to not unlock while owning the ultimate edition or having purchased the year 1 bundle. Issue causing season rewards to be skipped and instead giving players duplicate when gaining multiple season levels. Imagine some people actually got some extra exotic mask because of that, huh? Issue with the Roosevelt completed on hard or higher to not count towards the daily project Outcast Hunt. Issue that could cause the level 35 season reward to not be delivered, so that's the exotic mask Coyotes. So that's good. And as I said, like, you can actually farm it now. Fixed an issue causing unintended health values on shields. I actually think this have happened to me. I don't know how it works though, but I remember one day I felt like my shield was really strong, and then the next day it was not. I think it got something to do with loadouts. If you, for example, I have a tank build that uses firewall, and then I would swap to my PvE build, which is a rifle sharpshooter build, and I think that somehow clashes the values maybe. I'm not sure though. Anyway, that should be fixed now. Fixed an issue causing season ranks to be reset. Fuck, I actually like this one because I got 2 masks because of it, but hey, that's good to see, I guess. Fixed an issue that caused league mission timers to reset when a rogue encounter wiped the group. Okay. But I think that covers the patch notes. And I mean, overall, I think this is great changes to see. They are fixing the difficulties, and they are not nerfing the legendary or heroic too hard, which I thought they would do. But yeah, so I think that's good to see. Like, hard and challenging shouldn't be too hard. So having heroic and legendary still out there if you want to challenge yourself for a lot of players, I think that's good to have. And then of course the PvP changes, and with this out, I'm definitely gonna try the PvP a bit more. At least that's what I was thinking. But it depends on the loose target map, but when it's bad, I'm probably gonna focus and try to get some PvP gameplay out. However though, I do have a lot of videos I want to do now, so I'm probably gonna focus on that first though. But I think that will conclude this video talking about the patch notes. Let me know your opinion in the comment section, what you guys think about all this. And yeah, stay tuned for more content. And if you are interested in more Division 2 videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button. See you guys in the next one.